Cool. Thank you.
Hey everyone, I'm so excited to have Jodi Cohen on the show today to talk about an exciting new summit that I'm really interested in sharing with you. So I brought her on the show to talk all about the parasympathetic nervous system. It's a parasympathetic summit. Jodi, the founder of Vibrant Blue Energy Oils and healing people with essential oils. Now you're just making a huge impact around the world with this online summit. So thanks for coming on and sharing the news with us.
Oh my God, thank you. And we've been friends for a while. It's great to see you.
I know it's kind of fun. And now I'm down in San Diego. You're in Seattle, and
Yeah,
uh, now I'm where mostly when we have a normal year, where all the conferences seem to be hosted.
yeah,
So
exactly.
now it's all online. Summits are just like all the time. But this summit seems very interesting to me because I'm all about chronic stress and helping people feel better and live their best self, their best life. So talk about why you're putting on the summit, and let's kind of talk
Yeah.
about what it's about.
Yeah. And for people that don't know, just kind of starting. So your nervous system is what controls your autonomic nervous system controls the automatic functions in your body. So your breathing, your heart rate, your digestion, your detoxification, your immune system, your ability to turn off inflammation. And it's really designed to keep you alive and keep you functioning. And it has kind of two speeds. The everything is safe in the world and I can digest my food and detoxify, and my immune system's working really well. And there is the kind of danger zone, and the everything's working well. Safety zone is the parasympathetic. The I'm in danger either because there's a wild animal chasing me, or in my head I'm worried about the election that's going on right now, or that my relationship might end, or that I might lose my job, or that something's going on with my friendship or my child. All of those things tell our body that we're not safe. And when we're not safe, our resources get diverted to keeping us safe. That means that your heart beats faster and your breathing increases and your blood is rushed to your arms and limbs and away from your organs of digestion. And that's really important so you can survive that emergency, but it's not ideal long term. Ideally, you escape the emergency. It's kind of like, you're on the freeway and you're flooring it. The gas pedal is on the floor. At a certain point, you need to brake. You need to have that time to repair, to recover, to heal. And so the reason I wanted to do this is because I find that this is the underlying root cause of most ailments. In fact, some of the clinicians that I work with, you can have kind of, it's your vagus nerve that kind of helps you switch gear. And if that is compromised, 90% of people who have chronic illness have some kind of compromised vagal function, which means they cannot access their parasympathetic nervous system.
Mm.
And that is really like, it's your timeout, it's your safety zone. It is, when you're overwhelmed, it's the headspace you want to move into so that you can feel safe and so that you can connect with your friends, your family, your loved ones, and just really kind of live your best life. And I just wanted to make people more aware of that because, if you don't know what you don't know, how can you change anything?
So true. And that's what, I'm doing for a living now, is trying to help people that are trying to do all the right things and don't ever get anywhere. They're just struggling all the time, and how I can help them really get their body back and vibrant self. And a lot of that is revealing those hidden internal sources of chronic stress and external sources of chronic stress that everyone's got like an overabundance of. But what can you do with lifestyle habits? So,
Yeah,
and really learning about what you are talking about in the summit. So the vagal nerve is kind of a key thing we want to strengthen. We always hear about, and heart rate
yeah.
variability measurement. So what are some things that you've learned in the summit, and some kind of highlights of some of the amazing
Yeah.
speakers you have lined up?
Well, the best thing is there are so many things that you can do kind of without any external devices, things that are completely free that you can do every day. But to help understand how you activate your vagus nerve, it's important to understand kind of where it lives. So it is what connects your brain to your body. Like, it starts at the back of the head, splits and winds around both sides behind the earlobe. That's where it's actually most accessible. I'm the largest. It's kind of the size of a piano chord, and it's smaller elsewhere. And then it innervates your mouth, your face, your throat, your larynx, your heart, your lungs, every organ of digestion and detoxification. and it's what signals your whole digestive cascade. You might think of it like the moving walkway. It makes sure that the food keeps going through the body. So any kind of constipation or digestive, when the food sits too long, that's when the vagus nerve isn't activated. And at any point that it innervates, you can activate it. So it innervates the lungs. So breathing exercises, there's a box breathing technique that Elisa Song really details, how to kind of breathe in for a count of 4, hold for a count of 4, breathe out for a count of 8. You always want to make the exhale longer than the inhale. You can do a lot with probiotics or even eating a plant-based diet. Terry Walls and Kieran Christian really go into all of that, because if your gut is healthy and sending healthy signals back up to the brain, that activates the vagus nerve. You can do a lot of, we have Jen Esquire who talks a lot about pain and how pain is really a signal from the brain, and certain techniques like breathing, and certain muscular techniques can activate the vagus nerve and switch you out of pain. It's kind of like, there's a car parked outside, it's silent until the alarm starts blaring. If you can turn the alarm off, it's silent again. It's just kind of calming your nervous system so that the pain signal isn't firing all the time.
So that's why I love to teach people a lot of things you can do at home that are simple, like ohms and gargling, humming, because I think so many times people hear they have to buy this, buy that. And it's just like, all right, there's so many things that are free that you can implement so easily into your daily routine and create a habit. Like we started doing these 3 ohms at the end of our yoga practice we do in the morning. And then, different things you can do throughout the day. Because why would you say it's important for people to start working on their vagal tone?
The example that I use is, imagine that you're driving in traffic and someone cuts you off and you're in a good mood. It's a sunny day. You're like, whatever, maybe they're in a hurry. You kind of don't care. And then the next day, the exact same place, someone cuts you off and 4-letter words are flying out of your mouth. The only difference in that situation is you and your resilience. And when you're in resilience, life is just easier. Your kid can be having a meltdown. Your husband, can miss his flight. Your bill can be due and you don't have money in the bank account, and you're able to kind of navigate it. You don't scream at your child. You roll with it a lot better. And it's just so much easier to live your life that way, because you don't, when you kind of are going to bed at night and you're thinking back on your day, you're like, oh, I really handled that well. You like the way you show up and you just feel like your best version of yourself. And that's because you're able to be resilient and to kind of tackle, you have no control over what's coming at you at all, but you have complete control over how you respond to that. When you're able to kind of feel safe, tap into your higher cognitive function, which gets shut down in an emergency, which makes sense, right? Mm-hmm. If you're going to die and you can ponder, the universe, you're probably going to die because you need to make those short, quick decisions. But then when you have more time, if you have a really scary decision to think through, you don't want to make it when your back is against the wall. You want to be able to think, well, gosh, maybe I need more information. Maybe there are multiple options. Maybe I get a second opinion. It allows you to feel safe and kind of flow through life more easily.
Mm-hmm. So with, audience of ours being more athletes, endurance athletes, why, I know we've talked about this in other podcasts we've recorded, but maybe let's just explain why it's so important for athletes, especially endurance athletes, training a lot, racing a lot in a normal year, and why is it so important to work on the parasympathetic nervous system?
Yeah, so there's a really important neurotransmitter that is released when you're in the parasympathetic state, and that's acetylcholine, and it does a number of things. It helps you anti-inflame. It also helps, when inflammation is there, your ability for your brain to send signals to your muscles and your nerves slows down. It's kind of like you that your processing speed just shuts down. And that's not just your mental processing, your ability to remember words or names, it's your physical processing. So the speed of, how quickly you are able to run the race kind of depends on how quickly your brain is able to get messages to your body. So the more you can activate your parasympathetic nervous system and calm inflammation and anything that might impede the strength of your signal, the faster you're going to be.
Yeah, because I think a lot of athletes are stressed out all the time. And we tend to, as I wrote a book about it, life is not a race, that people tend to wake up too early to fit a workout in, then they work all day, and then they have a family, they have kids to deal with, and other jobs, and then they go to bed really late and they're online later, and it just really wear themselves down. So I feel like it's my mission to help other athletes be aware of the red flags of when you're doing too much in life and you start to have your body saying, I need to slow down, I need to reset, reboot, have those intervals.
And as a type A former marathoner, I relate to that. And I have some good news. There are things that you can still be type A and get a lot done. And gratitude practices. We all have anticipatory stress, especially if we're a very type A and kind of an overachiever. And so the more you can literally shift gears in your brain and be grateful, it can be as simple as you need someone to love, something to do, and something to look forward to. And you can be grateful for those three things. And when you're in a state of gratitude, your brain is kind of the leader. And then your body follows suit. And if you're happy, it releases all of the chemicals and hormones that kind of support healing and happiness. So, you can still get up at 5 a.m. and run 7 miles. Just be grateful on your run. You can use your tongue like a paintbrush and paint the roof of your mouth when, you're doing your 27,000 things. There are lots of things you can focus on. Your breathing. I have an essential oil blend that you can literally, it takes 1 second to put on. There are so many strategies. It isn't that you need to take the day off and go to a spa, and then you get home and the kids still need to be fed and the laundry still needs to be done. There are little things that you can do throughout the day to activate your vagus nerve and strengthen your parasympathetic tone.
Because most people that are, probably listeners similar to me that were type A, driven, ambitious, high performing individuals, that we always kind of take on too much or have overdo life. But that's why I think this is such an important summit for people to listen to that are similar to me, that we need to, okay, here's what we can do. Let's do this now and take control of our health by making these choices of when to slow down and when to really focus on optimizing our sleep for recovery and repair and resiliency. And one thing I keep sending my clients links to is that oil, I think, is that the parasympathetic?
Oh yeah, the parasympathetic. Yeah, and I'll show you. So what's interesting, there are tons of vagus nerve stimulation techniques. In fact, if they sign up, I think they can do a free download for 25 of them. But what I just think this is so easy, and it's just boom, mindless. You can leave it by your toothbrush and use it when you brush your teeth. I always use this before exercise because it helps me get in the zone faster.
Really? So I found, before bed as well as eating a meal, but also I'm helping people with their stress and getting them healthier, but it's about getting their kids mellowed out. So
I know. I wish
help parents.
Well, and for years I really, very type A, killed myself to make all these nutrient dense whole food meals, and we would literally wolf them down before we had to leave for soccer practice. So the more you can eat in the parasympathetic state, it's just efficiency. You're able to digest, absorb, and assimilate more of your nutrients if there is blood flow that's routed to your organs of digestion. And if that moving walkway continues to carry the food through your system so that it doesn't sit too long in any one place and cause problems.
Well, that's a great point I try to make all the time is even if you're eating a healthy, nutrient dense meal, keto, carnivore, whatever you're trying to do, paleo, real food that balances your blood sugar, that if you can't digest it properly, you're not sitting down, chewing your food and eating the parasympathetic state, we don't break down, like you just say, you're not going to get those nutrients often, and you're not breaking down your food properly, you're probably causing some other issues. So I
Well,
think it's
yeah,
really
and
important to look at that.
proteins, Kieran Christian talks about this. Proteins, if they're not properly broken down and absorbed, can trigger the immune system to then launch an attack. This is, one of the reasons you get autoimmunity. So you really need to make sure that you're eating in the parasympathetic state, because not only will, you'll absorb the nutrients better, but if you don't break down your proteins are broken down mostly from hydrochloric acid in the stomach, then those become triggers to activate your immune system, which then causes more inflammation, which means that you're more, you're sore, you have a low back issue, just all the things that you want to avoid as an athlete who wants to be able to, excel at your sport for as long as you can.
Well, that's why I kind of changed this podcast, not just talking about, low carb athletes, but being more focused on health building tips, because I think so many people train and, even if they're using heart rate monitor and making sure they're not overdoing HIIT training or high intensity intervals, that we have to really look at the other elements that I call the holistic method, working on your nutrition, but also digestion and your gut health and recovery, repair, and movement throughout the day and all this stuff. And I think a lot of the topics is interesting looking at your summit. Let me just pull up I'm just going to share the screen. But the speakers on your summit, it's amazing how it all ties in together. What you're talking about, is Dr. Anna, I've had on the show a lot, keto, diet, and brain health, how that's related to parasympathetic state, and Dr. Natasha Campbell McBride. You hear about the gut health and mental health part. It's so essential. So how is gut health and brain health connected to parasympathetic nervous system?
Yeah, so the vagus nerve sends signals. It's a kind of a bidirectional highway. So it's sending signals from the brain to, the body and the gut, like you're full, you're hungry. And then it's also sending signals from the gut back up to the brain. Dr. Stephen Porges wrote the polyvagal theory, which is all about the vagus nerve, which is not a light read, but he does a really nice job making it a very light conversation. I was really slightly overjoyed, because I was like, this is making it so accessible to people. But to answer your initial question, basically you need your vagus nerve to be in the parasympathetic state and sending healthy signals for your microbiome to turn on. Like, it's interesting, there are kind of opportunistic pathogens in your gut that are waiting for signals of stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline. And when they sense those stress hormones, they see an opportunity. They're like, oh, we can, come and flourish and spread and cause all these problems. And so the more you can kind of manage your cortisol levels and, not make your body think that you're under attack all the time, the more the microbiome in your gut remains balanced. And so there really is that gut brain axis, and it's, it's top down and bottom up. And so it's just, especially for athletes, because there is that correlation between, what you produce, that the neurotransmitters that are produced in the gut, like the GABA and the serotonin, and, it's correlated with dopamine and your motivational level and, how you feel, your reward threshold. So there's a lot of great information that I think I was very pleased at how accessible all of the expert speakers made their content.
So it starts November 9th. So day one, I have, if you've watched the video version, they've got some amazing PhDs on there, a lot of smart people, including Jodi.
Well, thank you. Yeah. No, but it was really exciting to interview everyone. And Tara Hunkin, she's also an NTP, and she does a really amazing job. And actually, Robert Malilio, he's really interesting. He really delves into, the right hemisphere and the left hemisphere have different functions. And he talks a lot about how pretty much every ailment that we see out there is overactivation of the left hemisphere. And the more you can kind of activate the right hemisphere, the more you can balance, the simple things like ADD and anxiety. But oils are a good way, because smell goes directly to the front of your brain. David Perlmutter was fantastic. He's brilliant.
He's so smart.
Yeah. Yeah, and then Dr. O'Brien is always fantastic, and he really covered quite a bit. He was kind of fun because he talked a bit about the vagus nerve and the parasympathetic state and just your cognitive function, like if you're an athlete. I'm a runner, and a skier. That doesn't require a ton of strategy, better, more than picking your mark down the hill. But if you really need your brain to be in tip-top shape while you're in your sport, he really details how the vagus nerve plays into that.
Huh. And Heidi Hanna, I've heard she spoke at my Todd Durkin mastermind group I was in one year. She's doing a lot on the brain health. So
She's so brilliant too. And I love, like circuit break stress. She just has such great analogies for things. Debbie Silbner has a book that just came out. She talks a lot about betrayal, but what she really does is she talks about, I think so many of us, when we don't know what to do, we do nothing. So she kind of talks about how to get out of being stuck and how to get out of avoiding. And it's super helpful. Alex Howard also, he has some really good systems for, just emotional stuff, like the stuff that kind of, lingers and that you can't quite work through, and how to really clean your emotional closets in some really powerful ways.
I think a lot of people need that.
Yeah, especially now, it's a good time to kind of reboot our systems. Kieran Christian is just genius. He started Megaspore, and he really detailed like opportunistic pathogens and how vegetables and flavonoids in the gut really turn on healthy microbiome, and how the healthy balanced microbiome in the gut makes it sets the stage for better health. And he explained it in a very accessible way that I was really excited about.
He does do that. He always explains things, so it's like, oh, now I get it.
I know. He could teach kindergartners. He's just so good. And Dr. Campbell McBride was fabulous too. She made one. She's not pro vegan, but other than that, she's fabulous, and she was really brilliant.
Oh, that's good. Good to hear all sides.
Yeah, and then actually Rita Marie had some really great information about blood sugar, and especially as an athlete, especially as a marathoner, hitting the wall, and just how parasympathetic plays into blood sugar regulation and making sure that you feel energized and oxygenated, especially, what you can kind of do. It's like fine-tuning your machine, your body, so that you make sure you're getting all of the nutrients for your best performance.
And I think that's essential for athletes, because so many people just train and don't really do the inner work part, and really realize how important that is to improving performance and longevity. And Dr. Kalisch helped me. I was case study for one of his students in his program when I started to get my adrenal exhaustion in 2013. But I know he's made a lot of great online summit conferences, sessions himself, or speaks.
Yeah. He's brilliant and super affable. He was really great.
And then, Dr. Walls, we've had a couple times on this year. She's amazing. And Dr. Davidson, he's done lots of Mitochondria Summits. I've watched him. So you got huge.
Yeah, and I like Todd Watts, and he are good friends of mine. I love his products. Okay, so Sashins was kind of fantastic for mindset and just gratitude, and like the little things that you can literally do while you're doing your exercise routine, while you're cooking your meals, while you're driving. His was really a do not miss. Yeah. Evan got into mold, which I was kind of excited about, because it's a lot of background noise for a lot of people, but he's a smart cookie, and he really does a lot of research, and I thought he shared some ideas that I hadn't heard before.
So I'm totally into mold now, because I finally got the oats test taken this year, and I'm sure all Seattle people, Northwest people have mold toxicity. I found out like for 10 years I probably have had mold toxicity that I didn't know about it. So I think it's something to test, not guess about too, for a lot of people.
Well, and also to those people that are listening that might have mold, like Jay Davidson and Todd Watts have this great company, Cellcore. Yeah. And it's a little bit like, there's the big bad wolf, but if your house is made of bricks, it doesn't matter. So they have some products that are great for athletes. They have a Mito ATP, and then also these mineral drops that really make your mitochondria more resilient no matter what's happening outside.
Yeah, I've heard about that. The Mito one's supposed to be amazing.
Yeah. It's really great. So,
Bridget, she's FDN. So.
She's adorable. Yeah. She's like one of my favorites. Oh, and Dr. Schaffner, Christine Schaffner, and Marco Ruggio, they talk about vagus nerve toxicity, kind of vagus nerve infection hypothesis, which is really It's one of those things, like if you are suffering from chronic fatigue, fibromyalgia, multi-chemical sensitivity, you can't tolerate any smells, that's a good one to watch because it'll like connect a lot of dots. Amy's amazing. She shares tapping. That's another thing you can do.
Oh,
Just kind of some
supposed to do
basic.
that every Tuesday.
Yeah. Yeah, well, it really calms your nervous system and helps enhance your regulation. And that's the kind of thing you can do under the table, like when you're on a Zoom call or at a restaurant. So it's very subtle and low key and doesn't require anything. Deanna Minnick also, we had so much fun. She's
Great.
this really talented artist. And so she was kind of sharing her latest colors and just talking about how certain colors can really kind of enhance organ function. It was really valuable. I thought she was great.
Another Northwestern or Pacific Northwest.
Yeah, she lives near Seattle. Yeah, and then Eileen McCusick, she has sound therapy. She invented some of her own sound tuning. And so she was really interesting. It was really kind of helpful, because sound, obviously you can sing, you can chant, you can hum. My daughter was so funny. It's like chant, and you like go Tigers. And I'm like, no, but you can do that if you want to. Greg Eckel is the nicest person in the world. And he really talks about kind of being very heart-centered. And he also shares some Qigong exercises. And then Sterling is kind of a quiet riot. He's super funny, kind of had his own recovery experience and really learned how to activate the vagus nerve.
That'd be a good one.
Yeah, Diana Driscoll did a really nice job explaining acetylcholine and how it works in the body and how to activate it. I thought she shared a lot of great information. Ari talked a lot about light and sunshine and just the importance of that, which you're so lucky now that you're in San Diego. Yes. You have access to. Jen Esquire, she is a physical therapist in LA near you. She was really fantastic. I thought she did a great job. And Kurt Gare really talked about lasers and how you can use them. He works with a lot of athletes and just how he's using lasers to activate the vagus nerve and expedite healing.
Wow, you have a lot of, so it's 7 days? Is that what it was?
It's 7 days. It's November 9th through the 15th, and then there will be a replay weekend the following weekend.
There's so many great ones. So I was saying this in the intro for the show today that these summits, when they, like the Mitochondria Summit, I'm just really into mitochondria and the mold toxicity right now for personal health, but just this topic is always huge for me. And it's what I always want to learn more on because it's what I'm doing for coaching business, helping other people that struggle with chronic fatigue and chronic stress. But it's why I always need to buy the summit, not selling the summit right now, but it's just why I never can watch all of these in one day. So how does summits work if people are new to them? Because I always sign up for different ones and there's a lot going on. What's kind of
so basically the way it works is that for every day, the speakers for that day are free all day. And then all the speakers are free for a full weekend, for the follow-up weekend. And then if you want to get, the presentations that you can access at any time or transcripts. I like transcripts because I am able to assimilate information better if I can read and highlight. And then there are a bunch of other bonus goodies that you can get if you buy them. But they are, they're free. They're online no matter what. Like just by submitting your email, you get a lot of really valuable content and information that's yours as a free gift forever. Yeah,
that's what I signed up, and you get tons of ebooks. And I was saying I always do them on my iPad and save them to my iPad in an iBook. So then I have them to read there because I never can find them on my computer. So my iPad, I have, all my iBooks of all these different PDFs that people give as free gifts. And they're just so great to read when you're, need something to read, or if people, are in an airplane and want to read something. So I just think it's great. I think these topics, that's why I wanted to bring you on the show and do a little special bonus, a podcast episode, and just how important this is for performance and longevity, but also the state of our world right now.
Yeah.
It's what we're all, I was talking to someone in London yesterday and they're going into lockdown and it's just driving me nuts. So it's like, okay, chronic stress of being frustrated with our world right now. We need to be careful that we're not overwatching the news and getting sucked into this chronic stress, because it will eat you up and it will accumulate and cause this internal breakdown and burnout of your body systems if you don't know how to manage it, like all these tips that you're sharing.
Yeah, and Rashid Buttar, who's been a very vocal medical doctor about COVID, he basically said, I've been asked on like over hundreds of summits, but I loved yours because it's parasympathetic. I always say, don't go sympathetic. And I'm like, yeah, you have to lead with the positive. It's like if you say to a kid, don't run, don't run, don't run, all they hear is run, run, run. So you
Yeah.
say walk, and he was saying his talk was interesting because he really shares actually a lot of my ideologies about how he cures cancer patients. And basically, what he was saying is that when you are in that fight or flight state, your immune system isn't working. So all of these pathogens and predators just kind of build up. It's a little bit like, when New York City used to have garbage strikes. It was disgusting. It smelled really bad, because you just have to constantly clean house and clean the garbage out. And if you're stuck in fight or flight and you're constantly prioritizing survival and never prioritizing renewal and repair, that's going to catch up to you at a certain point.
Hmm. Yeah, well, good for you for doing all this. I mean, how did you come up with the drive to put this together and get all these speakers and do it all? You Miss Ambitious, overachiever, high performing
Well,
individual.
two things. My son was killed in a car accident, and
Mm-hmm.
my coping mechanism is distraction and overachieving. So I needed to set the bar high so I'd actually do things. And then I have a book coming out in March of 2021 called Essential Oils to Boost the Brain and Heal the Body. Actually, we just launched the book site. So if you go to boostthebrain.com/gift and just enter your name and email, you can download 25 parasympathetic activation strategies. And because I am type A, they're kind of designed for like, don't go, you're not going to the spa all day. This is something you can do while you're running around and like leading your normal life.
Yeah.
But I wanted to build my platform so that when the book came out, I could do a better job of selling it.
Good. Yeah, that's smart. Definitely we'll put that in the show notes and put the link for people to join in the summit. It's free. You don't have to pay for anything. You just watch each day which ones you want to. And if you want to know more and save that information, there's amazing deals like that come up that happen during the summit. So I always take advantage of those deals and sign up for stuff early on. But you don't have to buy anything. It's all free. Just sharing
You
that
don't have
knowledge.
to buy anything. The ebooks are pretty valuable. And Elisa Song does a really good job. She talks about cell danger response.
I love
It's this
that.
idea that when you're in the sympathetic survival state, there are certain processes that your cell turns on, to kind of keep you safe that sometimes don't get turned off. And so if you are someone that, um, you constantly have like, you're about I'm about to demonstrate. You're talking and there's a word and it's like, that design that is plaid that people wear in the winter, and you're like, oh yeah, flannel. You just can't find the word
Yeah.
in your brain.
Mm-hmm.
Or your hip always kind of hurts and you're doing everything. Just like these little recurring things that you're close but you're not totally there.
Yeah.
This really does a great job of kind of explaining what might be going on and how you can actually cross that finish line.
Wow, I need that.
Yeah, we all do.
The last thing though, is anyone speaking about kind of how this relates to kids? Because I working with clients, I was mentioning earlier that, have kids homeschooling and they're eating
Yeah.
that poorly and they're hyperactive and working online. This, it's so challenging for teachers and the students and the parents that I think that's a great seminar itself to do, is talk about how you can help it for children, because as I've
Yeah.
struggled with helping my clients get healthy is by helping their kids, especially one with, autistic child that I had by your oils, that I think it would be a huge topic.
Yeah. So Elisa Song, who is a naturopathic pediatrician, definitely talks about that.
Okay.
And then also Tara Hunkin, who has My Child Will Thrive, which focuses on kids. She kind of, not only on the autistic spectrum, but also like sensory seekers, sensory avoiders. So yeah, we definitely touch on that.
Awesome. Well, I'm so excited to get into watching these next week and making it a priority in my schedule and just trying to get one in a day. And then of course I'll sign up and buy them because I can't watch them
I
all day long.
know.
But I am so excited, and I really am proud of you in following your passion and purpose and really helping create impact in our world when we all need this information now. So I thank you.
Well, and it's funny. I mean, this is election day, and I have to say it's kind of a bit of a nail biter. And I just I keep putting on the parasympathetic oil and saying, you know what, no matter who wins, the people that I love are still there. You know, I still get to be healthy. Like, it's all going to be okay.
Yeah, I must admit, I don't turn on the TV. We don't watch TV really at all, but we'll probably turn on tonight. And I just kind of go on with my day. And I was talking to my sister who lives Vancouver, Washington, and her husband, they work in Portland, and they're already, like you said, boarded up. And so it is such a stressful time in our world, not just the election, but also COVID and people being threatened to go into lockdown again. And, it's just like, can we just skip
There
this
are
year?
so many things that we cannot control, and yet we can always control our response, and that is incredible power.
Yep. And that was my post on my Instagram today, the three C's. And, you can choose how you react to things, and you can choose to go for
Yeah.
a walk, and you can choose to take care of your breathing exercises, box breathing. So we'll learn lots more, but we'll put that, your website, boostthebrain.com/gift. Is that right?
Yep. Yep.
And people can start learning now. So thank you so much. And we look forward to talking to you next time about your book.
Oh my God, I can't wait. Thank you.
Yay. Bye.